things that us as an organization are striving to help find a cure. And now that the serious part is over, we'll get to the more humorous side of the night. I'm going to be introducing your MC tonight. She's red hot, straight from Ale Pie, with a tight connection with Mr. Charley Price himself. Lauren Gerkins. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Emily Pride. And the man of the hour himself, the guy who was national headquarters president when ALS was made or planned to be, Mr. Charley Pride.
Good evening and welcome to Phi Delta Theta's Rest of Charley Pride. My name is Emily Pride, and obviously that's my dad, and I will be your MC for tonight's festivities. Myself and the gentlemen of Phi Delta Theta would like to thank you for supporting Kentucky Ada's first ever Harry Buffalo Philanthropy Week and also the ALS Association. So tonight's roast is all about Charley Pride, and no, I'm not talking about the Black Country Star. We are talking about the man, the myth, the legend, WKU's finest, Charley Pride. Whether you love him or hate him, we all know who he is, and who knows him better than his own daughter. That's right, people. Somehow, Phi Delta convinced me to come over here and make fun of my dad. I'm very interested to see what these people have come up with, and we'll see if you can top my insults, but I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm sorry, Dad. So first, let's talk about the man's fashion choices. First, the ties. The man probably has about 50 ties, ranging from your normal stripes to his 5 St. Jude ties that he's very proud of, including the Toy Story alien tie, which I did not tell him to wear that, but he's wearing it, and even a tie with Santa Claus on it that he insisted on wearing to our church's Christmas Eve service. 9 times out of 10, his tie probably does not match the rest of his outfit. And speaking of matching, only my dad would think that it's okay to wear a purple polo with olive green shorts and bright neon orange New Balances. If you would like proof, we have photos from our last family vacation. Word of advice, Dad, stop it with the pastels, you look like an Easter egg. Tonight's first roaster will be Eric Thomas. His bio says he's a low-key savage, he's a professional needle-spike mooch, and is most likely to be arrested for impersonating a cop. Eric Thomas.
Hello everybody, my name is Eric Thomas. I'd like to thank you all for coming out tonight. First off, before we get started, I'd like for you all to turn around and notice the exit signs in the back. If at any point in time tonight you get offended, you have 2 options. You can get the hell over it, or you can show yourself to one of those doors and have a good night. So, the man of the hour, Dr. Pride. I'll keep this short because I know you've got to get back to your office and continue creeping on incoming freshmen on Facebook. The first time I met Charley was a time I don't even remember it, and this wasn't because of alcohol or anything else. This was because I was an infant. The first time Charley showed up in my life and crashed the party, I was being baptized. I was 2 months old. This was in 1995. 2 years later, Phi Delta Theta passed a international bylaw or a policy that we would go alcohol-free housing. And Charley was a part of the board at the time during this, and they knew when they selected their next president that they were going to have a real buzzkill. This new bullshit, policy. So they picked the right person in Charley Pride. But crashing parties is not the only thing he enjoys doing. He enjoys collecting things that you would find in the checkout lane at Target, like baseball cards and Pez dispensers. If you've ever been in his office for a meeting or some type of question you have, you would know that it looks like some type of creepy antique shop that would steal your credit card information. But all in all, Charley's a great guy, and Greek life on the hill is very lucky to have you. So thank you for doing this tonight, Charley.
Thank you, Eric. So for someone who likes to bust a party, it's kind of funny that that's where he met his wife. So one thing about my dad is he has developed the odd knack for remembering details about people. When you first meet him, he probably already knows who you are, your hometown, the high school you went to, and how many people were in your graduating class. And if you had a sibling, a parent, or any other relative or friend come through the WKU Creek system in the past 30 years, chances are he knows them too. I'll never forget the first time I brought home my friends freshman year, Allie and Jenna. The first thing he said to Jenna was, "Aren't you Dan Muller, SA's president's little sister?" The second thing he said was, Allie said she was from a small hometown that he probably hadn't heard of. Of course, my dad had heard of it, knew 5 or 6 people from it, and had eaten at the one restaurant in that town. So here's another roast for you. He's a Cubs fan. Sorry, I had to throw it in there. My dad is probably the only male to have lettered in high school women's basketball, along with baseball, football, track, field, and men's basketball. He probably would have lettered in soccer, but Webster County didn't have that at the time. So how can a man who doesn't run unless an axe murderer is chasing him get over 15 high school letters? He was the manager for all of this. The only person WKU students hate more than my dad is Bob Skipper when he doesn't cancel school. So the next speaker we have is Charley Nold of Sigma Nu, also known as the Sigma Nu that always has those headphones on. He is an amateur bear wrestler. He's a senior PR major. This is his first nomination for Album of the Year, but he decided to do the roast instead. And in lieu of flowers, please send all donations to the World Wildlife Foundation. We have Charley.
How's everybody doing tonight? Well, all right. Well, I just want to start by saying a huge thank you tonight to our hosts, the brothers at Phi Delta Theta. You know, at least we know, since you guys are throwing this soiree, it's not going to get busted. Ain't that right, Chef? First off, I have to start with this. All right, guys. Come get your eggs is the single creepiest Snapchat caption. And honestly, I'm glad you guys did this, because now I know that fraternities are allowed to haze for Philanthropy Week. I'll keep that in mind for Snake Days. But any Phi Delta man, they had a great year. It's the first year in their new Dude Ranch house, and I'm sure the hot cocoa was plentiful. And let me tell you guys, I live next door to one of their party houses, and whew, did these guys know how to throw down. I always know the morning after a party when I see all those Mike's Hard and Smirnoffs on the floor. But I digress. Wow. This is a big moment, you know, as she said. It's a chance to honor the man, the myth, the guy who busts our parties, Charley Pride. And we're talking about this Charley, as she said, not the country singer who has not even reached a quarter of the fame this one has. You know, I've always felt a strange kinship with you, Charley. You know, we share the same abnormal spelling of our first names. Although, regardless of me telling you this, you never remembered, at least the first 3 years I was here. I'm not sure if this is his actual smile, or if he just thought he was taking another composite photo. But to be honest, if that's not the face of a man who governs a bunch of Greeks, I really don't know what it is. And while you may have been on vacation during your last break, Charley is spreading the gospel of whatever form of dress that is. What are you looking at there, Charley? Let's get closer. You know, I also got to thank Maggie Sean for those photos. You know, it makes sense that Charley was a Phi Delta, though if you had asked him 4 years ago before the old ones got kicked off campus, I'm not sure how quick he'd be to tell you. And honestly, who else would be the alumni of a fraternity whose former president is widely known around campus as that unicycle kid? Do you all know the Pez Corporation received a bailout during the Great Recession? Really, it was just Charley buying his yearly supply. And have you seen this man's office? He may be the only person above the age of 8 that actually collects these things. And honestly, it's probably a little more intimidating to be stared down by those Pez dispensers than him sometimes. I mean, look at that sweet face. And, you know, when you think about it, Charley is kind of a human Pez dispenser in a way. He's straight out of last century, white as chalk, and every time you push him, a fraternity suspension pops out. You know, he's the kind of guy that keeps our campus running. And by that, I mean he keeps us running to hide our booze whenever he comes around. And I don't know why. You know, if anyone understands college, it's the guy that's never left it. You know, he got his bachelor's, his PhD, and went straight to work for the fraternity and student activities. That's the ultimate victory lap. Shit, that's a victory marathon. There's truly nothing that exemplifies fraternity life like the inability to leave college after the 4 years that you've been there. And for that, sir, we toast our room temperature like beers to you. But in all seriousness, you do a great you do a great job around this parts truck, and you know we're lucky to have a man as nice as you. So, you know, Sigmund promises never to put sand in our basement again.
If you've ever stepped into my dad's office, you may have noticed something. The Pez collection. I don't know why he does it, but for the last 15 years, he has collected plastic candy dispensers, which he proudly displays in his office. In fact, there is a whole bookcase devoted to them. He has over 1,000 Pez's at the last count in there, and if that wasn't weird enough, he doesn't actually eat the candy that comes with them. So if you're ever in student activities, stop by, say hi, and grab a Pez out of the Pez jar. If you haven't noticed the Pez, maybe you did notice the rest of the man's office. Stepping into his office is like stepping into a museum. Every square inch, the walls, the desks, the bookshelves, even the floor is covered in one of his many collectibles. There's even an entire wall devoted to Phi Delta Theta memorabilia. If you think that there's a lot of stuff in there, you should have seen his old office back when this was Duck, or you should see the 2 storage units holding all of his other collections. If you've ever been to a Greek event, you'll probably notice that he walks around with his plastic disposable camera, or digital camera, taking pictures of everyone. So, what does he do with these pictures? He prints them out, all of them, and puts them into binders. He labels each photo with the date, the name, and the event, and what Greek affiliation is in the photo. So, if you were curious what Edelpai's homecoming globe looked back like in 2003, then I can go home and grab it for you, because they turned my room into a storage unit. Or, if you wanted to know Phi Delta's Tub Team in 2008, I could probably find that too, considering every single album is labeled by year and season. As if this wasn't enough, he also does this for my brother and I. So as a 20-year-old, I have over 15 photo albums ranging from my birth to now, just pictures of me. His obsessive record keeping doesn't stop there with photos. He also keeps legal pads with notes from every single day of the year. So if you need to know what restaurant we ate at in June after church of 2011, it's probably in there. Also, you can probably know any Bowling Green High score from the past 8 years. He'll have written it down somewhere. So, it's kind of a weird guy. So next, we have Sarah Hardison from Cayo, also known as S. Her credentials include 100.3 FM, the Beaver Songwriting Finalist, and President of the Friend Zone. Thank you, Sarah.
Okay, so I'm going to put my credentials to use, and instead of just, talking to you all, I'm going to do a little remix of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So, in Bowling Green, Kentucky, at WKU, party at the frat house is what we all used to do. But then Charley Pride came to ruin the fun. Probably because in the 80s he couldn't get none. Just cookbook shoes, trying to holler at the ladies, but they hit him with the flu. Blah. Now we think he's all bad because he makes his bread at Western. But what we're afraid of is soon be bald head. Okay. He's not actually going bald, but his name used to toupee. We'll actually know, but here's all I have to say. So you, Mr. Charley Pride, just let this all go. Kind of like your body when you ate too many Oreos. And we'll all pretend like you didn't taste. We all know how it went in the ancient days. So I'm going to be done and end this all here because I don't want to be late for the frat house rage.
So my dad, at Bowling Green High, he's part of the football quarterback club for the past 2 years. He's also known as one of the football moms because he'll never miss a game or practice. He's at every fundraiser, and we last saw him decorating tables at the annual banquet. He was once instructed to shave his mustache, or else, by his best friend's fiance if he wanted to be in their wedding. Apparently, he didn't leave the mustache in the 80s like he should have. So I need to report something missing. Has anyone seen my dad's jawline? Last time I saw the same next to his neck. I throw it in there. I wanted to give Greek humor a shout out because they give so much free publicity to Greek life, and especially my dad. But seriously, guys, if you're gonna make fun of someone, you should try to spell their name right. E-Y. C-H-A-R-L-E-Y. They still haven't gotten it right to this day. For all of you who claim that my dad doesn't like you, the easiest way to tell whether he likes you or not is if he makes fun of you. If he's not making fun of you, he probably doesn't like you. So Pike, calm down. It's not just my dad that doesn't like you. My dad not only loves WKU, but just college in general, just kind of how Charlie highlighted, which is why every single vacation I've been on, we end up on some college campus that you've probably never heard of, eating lunch or visiting their bookstore or taking a campus tour, which is why when it came time for me to visit colleges, I visited over a dozen, and he's visited over 500 campuses in 48 of the 50 states. So, he really has never left college, let's be honest. So next, we have Mr. Ethan Handel. Wait, who is that? Oh, he's that Fidel that always has a cigarette in his mouth on the front porch, and will probably die of lung cancer before any of us graduate. So Ethan, come up here and give a good old answer.
All right, well, my name's Ethan, and I'm an alcoholic. I'm trying to sort on paper. Oh, shit. Okay. First, I'd like to say I hope AGR was able to make it out tonight. Usually they're too busy tending to the fields. I also hope the Pikes were able to make it out tonight and turn themselves away from the gym. My dad was a Pike here back in the day, and from looking at him, I can tell they weren't always gym rats. That reminds me, also like to hope the Sigma Chi's here tonight. Usually they're too busy with their faces passed out in the toilet somewhere. I heard Fiji had to be hospitalized for alcohol poisoning after drinking one whole Red Apple ale. I'm surprised he finished it. But I'll be the first to tell you that Fidels are much better at holding their alcohol. One of our brothers passed out in a kiddie pool wearing a Hawaiian shirt. He looked like a depressed Jimmy Buffett. I've never really had a group of friends that was not good at talking to women, and then I joined Fidel. I also have a question for ATO. How much is rent? I need a place to stay next semester. Oh, and Landon Kai, speaking of houses, you may want to ban wolves from your house. I'd be afraid they'd huff, puff, and blow your house down. You know what I'm tired of? I am tired of people calling the boys at SAE spoiled rich brats. I'm really only saying this because I'm afraid one of their dads is going to sue me. You know, some people can't tell the difference between KA and farmhouse, and neither can I. I can't tell rednecks apart. So, also can't tell the difference between Sig Up and Sigma Nu. They're both full of the same kind of guys, but girls actually go to Sigma Nu parties. Speaking of Sigma Nu, I heard they tried to recruit a mannequin from the Gap. I thought they would never been to anything with a pulse. I guess they lowered their standards a little bit. Okay, now that I've made fun of everybody, we can move on to Charley Pride. Charlie has a very ironic last name because if I had his job, I would have absolutely no pride in the Greek life on this campus. If you haven't noticed, all WKU Greek life have two common enemies, Charley Pride and cargo shorts. If either one of them show up to your party, you're kind of fucked. He's like the father figure we never wanted and that we still have to worry about busting our parties. He reminds me of Michael Myers from the Halloween movies. They're both really pale, creepy, and are out to get any teenager they can find. He really does have a scary presence. In fact, in the backyard of the Fidel house, we have a Charley Pride scarecrow to keep the KAs away. Hopefully that'll start throwing the trash back there. I've heard people say that Charlie should be WKU's next president. Those people obviously don't know Charlie. The guy can't even get the Greek organizations to stop hating each other. Charlie would probably just call that healthy competition, but it's more like the Hunger Games, except it's a bunch of douchebags wearing chubbies and girls in bean boots throwing shade at each other on the yak. The only positive that there is to having Charlie as our next president is that he looked less like a Mr. Rogers impersonator than Gary Ransdale. Charlie's also a pretty ugly guy. I mean, he looks like a burn victim with leprosy. He looks like a Mr. Potato Head before you put any of the pieces in him. Charlie also has a gigantic head. He's like a walking caricature. He's not allowed to go to Disney World because they always get him confused for Goofy. That reminds me, I have a hard time telling Charley Pride and Big Red apart. You stare at either one of them long enough, you start to see a penis. He reminds me of SpongeBob for some reason. Maybe because they both have really square heads. Maybe it's because they both wear a shirt and tie almost every single day of their lives. And maybe that's because they both have weird lumpy bodies. Charlie may not look it, but he's ridiculously old. He's so old that he taught the cavemen how to tap a keg. He's so old that Greece made their letters of their alphabet out of the shapes of his liver spots. He's so old that he got a DUI while driving a horse-drawn carriage. Have you ever noticed how excited Charley Pride gets when he sees someone in public? He reminds me of a sad clown that couldn't afford a Botox injection. Charlie's like the anti-Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris may be able to walk on water and swim through land, but Charley Pride stumbles on land and drowns in water. Chuck Norris doesn't flush the toilet because he scares the shit out of it. Charlie doesn't flush the toilet, and that's why his wife makes him sleep on the couch. Legend says that behind Chuck Norris's beard is just another fist. There's also a legend that says behind Charley Pride's beard is an achieved, important person. Too bad Charlie doesn't have a beard. Chuck Norris doesn't wear a watch because he decides what time it is. Charley Pride doesn't wear a watch because he knew his time was up the second he was born. When you Google Chuck Norris, the only result that comes up is Google won't search for Chuck Norris because it knows you can't find Chuck Norris, he finds you. When you Google Charley Pride, only these two pictures come up. I'm guessing that's Charlie in high school. That could have been his before he rushed. I don't know, but anyway. You know, Charlie's job involves almost constant denial. In fact, Charlie gave me a list of the lies he tells himself every morning before work. Fiji parties are ragers. I actually like my job. Gary Ransdale's not the only reason that SA is still on campus. CDF is making themselves relevant for once. Fido will get out of second place one day. I know who Lambic Kai is. KAs are truly Southern gentlemen. I don't just get a kick out of busting parties, and we can achieve interfraternalism. I feel like the only reason Charlie busts parties is because everyone throws better parties than he did when he went here. We would all probably take Charlie a little more seriously if he didn't drive around busting parties in that van of his. It's something a soccer mom would drive. I guess that's just what happens when you become a dad. Charlie really is the epitome of a dad, though. He drives a van, he has a job that he hates, he's bitter at the current generation for being cooler than him. But what all ties it together is Charlie's dad bod. You can tell those extra years in college really did their job. A body like Charlie's is what all fraternity men have to look forward to when they get to his age. And if that's the case, I think I'll just stay sober. In all seriousness, Charlie, we really appreciate everything you do for the Greek life on this campus. If it wasn't for you, we couldn't have events like this. And thank you very much. Oh, and I would like to say I would have made a joke about Kappa Sig, but I was not sure if they were still a thing. So.
Someone could ever say their name. I'm going to say it again because it's fun to make fun of. Charley Pride! So imagine that you have never met him before and you're calling his cell phone. That is what pops up on his voicemail. Charley Pride is not available. Please leave a message. Back, I got that one from my mom. So, one of my dad's biggest accomplishments is being in Webster County High School's Hall of Fame. but it's Webster County, so we can really count it as an accomplishment. Okay, WC. So, my last joke. You can ask me, but I still don't know the answer to the question what my dad actually does. So, don't ask me that question. I want to thank everyone for coming today, and now we're going to invite Dr. Charley Pride to come over here, and if he has any last thoughts about what has taken place here this evening, he will share those with us. Charley?
It's a good thing is I can't see anybody from these lights. So, talking with Andrew Rash today, it's like, what should I say after this? Should I actually go after people, or go, some people say get revenge or retaliate. Should I say something about other people? I'm asking y'all.
Yes!
I figured that would be the answer. It's always funny to hear how other people think of you. And in particular, I like this because instead of great humor, you know who's saying it. There is definitely a love relationship between myself and Greek humor, and I would say it will continue to go, because I will probably still be going out Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, making sure there's not sand in the Sigmund house. Part of it, thinking through some of the conversations that we have and working through Greek affairs and city activities, you always overhear a lot of conversations. And most of the stuff I hear, this is coming from people within organizations about themselves. I can always say what they say about other people. But it is always funny to go through recruitment, listening to sorority women or youth sorority women, or going through fraternity recruitment. So going through a night of fraternity recruitment at WKU, sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's just plain pathetic. But if you ever go to the AGR house, one of the first comments is, we're not farmhouse. You go to farmhouse, we're not AGR. You go over to the ATO house and they're wanting to show you the one room that they have. I am glad they're proud of them. The other thing is that they're really proud of the sign, which is going to get them in trouble with the zoning board if they don't take it down, so we'll see if they take it down. You go, have you ever heard the term 52? 52 seems to go with a couple of our fraternities, and particularly the ones that live in the alley over between College and Center Street. 52 means is when we get in a fight, there's going to be 5 of us and 2 of them, because that's the only way we can win. And you hear some of the groups actually say that, and you can probably pick out which groups it is. You go to the Cap Sig House, one of the best things they have this year is, you know, we got a lot more people from Bowling Green than Sigma Chi. I don't know if that has happened. You go to the K house and they say, our house is always this clean, and then they show you the basement. I don't know if you've been in the K house, most people don't go there anymore. That's the same with going to the Lamb Chi house, hearing some of there's a couple of their members talking to people going through recruitment. We're really into community service. And then one of the other ones says, is that required of what we're supposed to do for the police? Reporter doesn't necessarily mean community service. You go over to Sigma Chi and they're saying, well, we've got the other guys from Bowling Green, the ones that we want. And then a few years ago, they used to be the big intramural chapter, and now they're not. So what do they say? We're still the big intramural chapter. I don't know. You go to SAE, first thing that comes out of some of their new members when they're recruiting people, you know who our alumni are? Do you know who our alumni are? And then they start showing you the pictures. And then they take you to the back part of their house where most of the time it's not as nice as the rest of the party. If you've ever been there on the deck. All right, go to the Sigma New house. And hopefully you don't see the sand that used to be there, right, Charlie? And if everybody knows the story is they had a party in their house, they put sand in it, and then they wanted to take pictures of it and put it on Snapchat and didn't think anything would happen. So that's not the brightest thing. The best part about some of our group people is they don't realize that you put everything either on Snapchat that floats around, or somebody takes a picture and sends it to us because they're mad at you, or you put it on Twitter, or you put it on Instagram, and we see more stuff than we ever wanted. It is always interesting to see what it is. And that's like going to the city of houses. We moved to the top of the hill and nobody still notices. And here's the part you say, oh, it's not me saying it. This is the stuff that I get to hear from your members and some other stuff. You know, talking the other day, listening to one of our sororities, he said, I wish our girls would be mean to other people instead of each other. And I was like, wow. And this is just, I remember some of the conversations, or listening to an 85, some 85s do not hang out with Fiji, said, I don't want to do anything else with Fiji. You know, you talk to the AO5s, one of their recruitment tools is we have more party houses than fraternities. Sad part is they do. You might not think that we do know where most of the party houses is. And if you can answer me, how many people in this room have ever seen me at a party house?
You're right.
You don't go to party houses. It's just you can't drink in your own house. But thinking back to part of Greek life here, I feel very fortunate that I get to work with individuals in Greek life. And some of you annoy the crap out of me. Yes. You know, it's another one of those Sigma News sayings. Every time I talk to them, I always say, Cyrus doesn't speak for us.
Couldn't be more right.
But Cyrus is the first one that will come talk to me. That's also like if you're tailgating and does anybody here know Sam Collins? Democratic president? He's the first person who'll talk to you, but it's always the last person to get away from. But it truly is nice to work with the individuals that we have. And part of the thing, and you may get it one of these days, is we challenge you to be better. And I'm always going to challenge you to be better. And as long as I'm here, I am going to work to make it. I'll be that guy. I have no problem with doing that. It took me years to get to that point. But I will be that guy, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. But I hope you know, if you need something, you need to find us. And the best part is when some of them actually, I get to know much better and have the relationship with good people. It's always the ones that don't know you or the ones that have issues. And I am the biggest excuse if something goes wrong. I understand that. The other thing you always hear, and we're getting ready for Greek Week, here's the biggest thing you're going to hear, especially for the women that do not win spring sin. We got disqualified. We have not disqualified a sorority in 17 years. This means you lost. Whatever, no, we got disqualified. Now, on the fraternity side, we have disqualified a few of them. And I'm looking forward this year to both the SAE and the Sigma Chi's, because they always put on the best shows. I hope you'll enjoy them, because they make everybody else look really, really good. And even though last year I Sigma Chi put a lot more effort into it, and they're actually pretty good until they started jumping off the stage. But I live in that. But it is, thank you for coming out. The one thing that they said, when I was the international president for Phi Delta Theta, we did choose ALS as our national philanthropy. And part of it is, it used to be called Lou Gehrig's disease. Apparently Lou Gehrig was about in the 40s in Columbia, New York. So we chose that, and now I'm happy that our chapter here has chosen to do stuff with it. And I'm happy that y'all chosen to support them. I will tell you, I always say this, and this is to other people that don't understand Greek life. They don't understand my job. That if people can have the experience that I've had in Greek life, I'll be happy for that. Because I've had a great experience going from when I started, and you'll laugh at this, because I don't think anybody else was born when I initiated in the fall of '96. It has been a great ride, and I hope y'all take advantage of every minute of it. Yeah, you might not get to party in your houses, you might not get to do some other stuff, but it was the greatest time of your life. You got some of the best friends that you'll ever have, and you've got more people that you're connected with than you could ever be connected with. So I would encourage you to make the most of it. I wish other people would have stood up and said more stuff. I enjoy that. Like I say, at least you're hearing it. I hear a lot of stuff, so I can hear it from other people. Please be the best that you can. Thank you.
That concludes the roast of Charley Pride. We just want to thank Charley for being such a good sport up here. And we also want to invite everybody out tomorrow to the intramural fields for the softball. for the Home Run Derby. And also Thursday night is 643 Sports Bar at 10 o'clock for the first ever Hairy Buffalo party. And Charley will not bust it because he's invited. So we're good. You can hang around and take pictures with the sign if you want to. Other than that, everybody be safe and have a good night. Thank you.